That's right, I remember reading that. Yeah. This is all coming back to me. So I think it was like shortly after this that Miller Genuine Draft died. I say it funny because, you know, I've always found the traditional way to spell draft, the D-R-A-U-G-H-T, was slightly pretentious. I know that that's like the traditional way to spell it. You know, I think it's what, like the traditional English or Scottish way of saying it. I just hate it. I hate it. I have always hated it. Because it looks like it just says draught, not draft. So there was totally a whole other waypoint over here that we somehow missed. It's really stupid because they're right next to one another. Then again, I can understand, fully subscribe to the fact that, hey, if you did not have the iron bits or the scrap to repair the bridge, or you just flat out didn't want to repair the bridge, you wouldn't have necessarily had access to the one waypoint, and you would have had to fight your way through all this. So to be fair, I understand. I get it. Daddy understands. I don't remember if there's an actual devotion shrine here or not. I kind of hope there is, because I would like to actually continue to pump that up. Finish up Shepherd's Crook. Finish up the shillelagh. By the way, we are zoomed way out here as far as the mini-map is concerned. I want it zoomed out a little bit, but Jesus Christ. Oh man, see, like this would be the perfect place for Ill Omen. My problem was I tried casting Ill Omen like right on the front lines, and of course the fucking front lines died before it could be applied, meaning before it could be spread. And I'm having a problem with that. It's because my peons are killing these monsters like faster than I can manage to get this spell off. And that was why I was having that whole spiel before about wanting to know the cast animation time and everything, the actual details of everything. Have access to Will of the Crypt? Absolutely. I could put 1 point into Mogdragon's Pact, which will allow me to have my first toggled skill. That'll give me a little bit of a buff here. Sure, I think I could do that. We also have Grasping Vines. That could be another. I could just put a skill point into it and use it as my whatchamacallit, my spammy skill. Let me try that. I kind of like the sound of that. It'll give me an actually chance to test drive this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put for my right mouse button skill. We're going to make that Grasping Vines, and then we'll set that there. As a matter of fact, you know what? Cancel that. So Y is to toggle this. Okay, so what I'd like to do is put all of my toggle skills and all that stuff that I only need to do the one time over here on my second skill bar. And my other problem is I've got like a 5-button mouse, and I'm just kind of curious to find out if we can keybind. So quick bar slot 1. So instead of doing the number 1, I could actually, you know, I could actually put my, ooh, actually that sounds good. So quick bar slot item 9. We're gonna make this key, this mouse button key. There we are, mouse 5. And the number 10 will be... Yes, that's perfect. Okay, so that's going to be a lot more handy for me when it comes to actually using health potions. I have a really, really wacky way of approaching the keyboard. I've mentioned my setup before in other games, in other campaigns, where I use like the directional keys and the whole delete and page up, page down. I don't use WASD, meaning I just don't like it. I've never used them. For as long as I've been gaming on a PC, Actually, I shouldn't even say PC. I should just say computers in general, because I've been gaming on computers longer than I've been gaming on PCs. Because I was gonna say there was a whole like Commodore 64 era, and then there were all the Amigas, and those aren't PCs. We're gonna need to put Ill Omen somewhere. You know, actually, I think what I'm gonna do is put Ill Omen as number 2, and then just move my summons down the chain a little bit, because it's not like I really need to recast them all that much. Whereas 1 and 2 are going to be definitely getting a lot more use. Anyways, for what I was saying with the directional keys and everything, I generally try not to use the number keys. Although when I was, you know, with Diablo 2, I used the function keys for all my skills and everything. So there's that. But when it comes to like the potions and stuff, I'm literally going to need to be pressing 8 and 9, and because that's kind of an awkward place to put those, I feel like mapping those buttons out to my mouse would be a lot more handy. So what does a spell actually do? Let's read this. At your whim, thorned vines erupt from the earth underneath your foes, inhibiting their movement. So it costs 25 energy. It has a 1.2 skill cooldown, 4-second duration, so which means that it lasts out in the world for 4 seconds. It has a 4-meter radius, which means that's what 4 meters is. That's interesting. We could use that as kind of a metric to look at what 4 meters looks like. Let's see, what else? So it does 7 physical damage, I'm guessing, per second, and 7 bleeding damage per second. Because I'm not really understanding this whole... This is what I mean, like, with the skill shit again. Here it comes again. Here's another piece of it. It doesn't make sense. So this thing has a 4-second duration, which means it lasts out in the world for 4 seconds. Watch, I cast it, and it's going to sit there for 4 seconds. So how does it apply the 7 physical damage? Is it applied once? Is it applied per second? And if it is applied per second, then how does that differ from the line below it, the 7 bleeding damage per second? Why does that show per second, whereas the other one isn't? I just don't understand it. God damn it. I need to know this stuff. It's so important. And I don't want to have to, like, go to Reddit or, you know, sign up for an account on their official forums to ask something like that. To ask these, like, seemingly basic and kind of rhetorical questions. I'd really hate to ask these questions and people go on there and thinking I'm a troll. Because the questions I'm asking kind of almost sound like bullshit.
Can't do that.
So I'm going to say that, like, you know what, when I was coming up with the theory of my build and everything, that a part of me kind of almost didn't even want to use the Grasping Vines and just used Ill Omen instead. Or do it the other way around and just go straight up Grasping Vines and just only do Grasping Vines. But the problem that I have with this is that Ill Omen is so good. That whole, like, Terrify thing is really effective. And it can potentially, you know, do such a large area because it just continually affects things, right? And the monsters run away and then they affect other monsters and so on and so forth. I'm not certain how far they will go because, I mean, they do go off screen, but I don't know how far off screen. And whether or not they would theoretically affect monsters that are off screen. I don't know. I mean, those are all very interesting things that I think would require quite a bit of testing. But the reason why I figured Grasping Vines is Grasping Vines seems to be more of a skill that you can A, spam, and B, it's going to affect bosses. Like the Ill Omen stuff, like all that stuff, it'll do the damage, but the movements, or the Terrifying stuff, that's not going to work. So if a boss is like rushing you and it's causing some problems, Ill Omen is not going to help you. Whereas the Grasping Vines will. The Ill Omen will help you because it does. I think the bosses and the hero monsters still get a reduction to their movement speed, if I'm not mistaken, right? And therefore, if they do, then you could make the case to say Ill Omen works really well with Grasping Vines, because I'm going to assume that the slower target movement is going to stack. And even if it doesn't stack, like the way they're going to be applied, it's still going to be beneficial for you. Although, you know, I could see it being really shitty though. Like, for instance, if Crate set it up where the movement speed reductions don't stack and they all get applied at once, which means that it would whichever one would be the highest one would be the one that would rule out that at the end of the day. So this one gives a 35% lower speed reduction, whereas Ill Omen, what is like 10? 15. Oh, it's fun. It's really funny the way that these are worded. This says 35% slower target movement for 2 seconds. Ill Omen straight up says minus 15% movement speed. You know, I just now caught that. They're literally the same thing, just worded differently, right? Hey, Crate, you know what I was talking about, polish? This is a polish thing right here. I mean, couldn't it have been just consistent? Couldn't it just say minus 35% movement speed? Okay, so that's going to bring me back there. There's one big, very convoluted MC Isher-esque kind of cave here. And yes, I would like to actually explore everything. Reputation update. You reach despised status with beasts. I don't remember if I said that in today's stream or if I said that in last night's stream. I think it was last night's stream where I did a little bit of a quality criticism rant on the whole faction system. Like, why do they show me having a faction with the beasts, with just regular beasts? Like, why are beasts a faction? And if it just exists there so that I can just piss them off even more, and then potentially, I don't even know, what does this do for me anyways? Extra spawns. So I'm basically being punished for the more of those things that I kill. It's just a punishment system. The reason why I had the criticism, I'm like, why is there, first of all, why is there a beast faction? And secondly, why does this even exist if there's no possible way for me to actually improve my relations with them? Like, it shouldn't be there. Sorry, game. Sorry, Crate. But if you guys were really going to seriously add them in as a punishment, like meaning as I kill so many of them, I'm going to start receiving some kind of punishment, right? Maybe you guys could have like had a little bit more of an innovative way of introducing that. Maybe as like a curse. I don't know. How about like something related to the story somehow? Maybe like, how about this? Maybe like I angered a beast god or something like that, and the beast god has placed this curse upon me. Right? Like, you guys could just, I'm just spitballing here. You guys could have made just some simple basic shit to explain why you're getting this punishment, why you're getting this curse. So if you know, instead of it being in the faction system, it just looks like shit there. It looks choppy as fuck. There's no reason for it. It's completely baffling. And I'll say it again. I said this before. As much as it feels like, or it sounds like I'm talking shit, or that I just don't like this game, and it couldn't be further from the truth. I'm having a blast playing this, and I really, really enjoy this. I just want this game to, like, clean up its really jagged edges. Like, I want this game to be truly something that we should cherish, that it's, like, really worthy of all the positive praise it might have received. Because to me, personally, it feels like a lot of the review scores out there were a little too kind, we'll say. Looks like we got a boss or a hero over here. Oh, we're losing skeletons. Might want to heal. Hello. Oh shit. That's right, I changed the button. I knew that was going to happen. There was going to be a time where I completely forgot that I changed my button. Wow, I really need to get the hell out of there when he does that. Finally get some more skeletons, get a Blight Fiend. Wow. That thing was difficult. See, that's what I'm talking about with this build, man. You really need to be able to kite. And that's what I also mean, you're going to get hit, so it's like your character really needs to be able to sustain some damage. Here we go. Much better amulet, baby. Lots of energy. Unfortunately, we're going to lose our health bonuses and that little bit of aether resistance, but we're going to get this bonuses to our pets. Sold. I don't know if I should keep that or not. Oh, you know what? We're level 16 now. We could use this. Oh, booyah. I have to equip that. Oh, yes. And the rest of the stuff is just... whatever. We need a dynamite for there. Oh shit, we did gain the level, didn't we? No. Like, I feel like this is definitely a quality game. I hold it to a higher standard because of that. And because Diablo 2 is like my favorite game of all time, you know, I feel like any game that tries to replicate that experiment or that experience or straight up tries to copycat it, rip it off, whatever, you know, I hold it to a high standard. I'm saying, like, if you're going to do it, at least do it right. You know, don't make your game look like a pile of shit. It's really gonna suck for those people out there that have tried to make their own Diablo 2 remakes. Like, there's one guy that was like doing a complete total conversion mod for Grim Dawn here to play Diablo 2. No joke. And then there was another guy, I think, that was doing it in the StarCraft 2 engine, because apparently in StarCraft 2, you know, there's like a robust series, like suite of functions, not only for map creation, but I think it's got more where you can actually have like a scenario, which there's some guy out there that's actually recreating Diablo 2. And no joke, in StarCraft 2. I think it was called, it might be Curse of Tristram, maybe? And I have to say, man, I kind of feel bad for these people because I know that they put a lot of work in their mods, and I have not tested them. I downloaded the one for StarCraft 2, but I never actually played it. But if Blizzard actually does release a Diablo 2 remaster or straight up re-release of it, their projects are gone. They're done. Like, nobody's ever going to play them. Unless, of course, the, you know, Blizzard fails spectacularly and they release like a completely like a piece of shit, which I don't really think they're going to do, if they are going to do that. Which I think they are. I think it's inevitable that they're going to release, that Blizzard will release some kind of Diablo 2 thing. Either it's going to be a complete revamp, like a complete overhaul, or it's just going to be an HD remaster. I don't know. I'm really curious because the BattleNet portion of it is really a big aspect of what Diablo 2 is. And I feel like if they're going to improve upon the core game itself, you know, that I hope they're not just going to fix just graphics. I hope they do like a major overhaul of all the bugs and shit. But if they're going to do that, they have to do a massive overhaul of not the BattleNet system per se, but the way in which the game is handled on BattleNet. Because the way in which it's handled on BattleNet, the way it is now, or the way it has been for years and years and years, is just allowed cheaters to do what they do and dupe items and fucking create all these shitty hack programs and shit. And I really hope that they do something to fix that. Now, I don't know anything about the inner workings of the current or the modern version of BattleNet. You know, the one that, you know, you play all of their games on and their client is on and everything. I don't know if it's like easy to cheat through the Blizzard client or whatever. So I don't know if they put Diablo 2 on the modern incarnation of BattleNet, if that like cures all of the old woes of playing it online. But they're going to need to do something. And that, my friends, is what really interests me. And I'm really, really fucking hesitant about it because I'm afraid that Blizzard, Activision Blizzard, is going to potentially go the very cynical route and basically just put a brand new coat of paint on it via an HD remaster and just call it a day. Although they have said before in the past, ooh, there we go, better pants. What sucks is we actually sunk some money into that. Wah, wah, wah. Let's hear. Okay, let's do this. What sucks, though, I mean, I guess maybe not what sucks about it. It's perhaps reassuring, I guess you could say. But they've spoken before several times about how difficult it's going to be to really recreate a Diablo 2, even if they were to do just straight up graphics. That they don't even, supposedly, allegedly, they don't have the assets to Diablo 2 anymore. So it'd become really, really difficult for them to actually do anything about it because they'd have to go back and really remake everything. But I could see them using that as like their excuse for just making a straight up HD coat of paint for the game and not doing anything else. And so I'm really cautious that that's not the route that they end up taking. That I'm hoping that they put a lot of TLC. I mean, like, Blizzard is actually really straight up looking at the legacy of their games, and they want to put some real heart and soul into their game, into their remaster of it. That's what I'm kind of meaning. Boy, it totally looks like there's an actual, like, icon here, doesn't it? That looks like there's something actually there, but there's totally nothing. Unless, of course, there's supposed to be like some sort of skill or something that I need to activate right there. Whatever. Totally worth our time coming down here, and I was correct. There is a devotion shrine. Before I actually activate it, it's a desecrated shrine, so we're going to have to fight some monsters. Before I activate it, I do want to come over here and clean out some of the monsters, just in case we end up, like, spawning something disgustingly ridiculous that just causes me a whole bunch of problems, where I needed to actually, you know, evade it and kite it, and then I come over here, and then I have to deal with this shit. Yeah, we don't have to do that. Kind of funny that that was the boss. Yay, we got our first blueprints. For Witch Stalker. Epic one-handed range. Booyah! You wanna know what that is? That's a motherfucking firearm. Yeah! Skill disruption protection? I didn't even know that was a thing. That's interesting. Much better health, or pants. It's funny that I actually shelled out some money to buy new trousers, and now the game is just showering me in new pants. better coat. And the rest of this stuff is just junk. Yep, okay. So let's go back to the shrine. We're looking okay on our space too, so like I'm assuming that all the items that we're gonna get from the completing the shrine here, we're gonna have enough space for them. Look at that. They got terrified, then they just walked around. While my guys are just pegging away at them. Oh, that's perfect. You want to know what else? It perfectly combos with Grasping Vines. Oh my god. There was an unintended combo there. It's fairly obvious, right? So if I lay down Grasping Vines first, they get this huge reduction in their movement speed, right? And then I cast Ill Omen, and since they're all kind of grouped together there and they're moving really slow, when I cast that, they're all going to get affected by this. By Ill Omen. Yeah, sticky, dicky, dicky. Let's see here. We just got a devotion point. So we'll get the 3rd star in Shepherd's Crook here. A little bit of elemental resistance, and then we get some pet elemental resistance. Fantabulous. And then we just have a little bit of area over here that I need to conduct some fog busting. Slaughter the monsters. I want to take a look at Grim Dawn again and take a look at what actually scales with Grasping Vines. This is one of those skills that I'm not going to max, but I just want to see how well it scales, because I could potentially go this route instead of Ill Omen, but I think Ill Omen's better. I just think it's better. So I'm going to stick with that. I guess it's really just for curiosity's sake, for nothing else, that I want to see what actually gets improved when you level it up. Okay, we got that one little snaky section, and then we should probably take a look at what we just acquired. They're okay, I suppose. I mean, you don't want to forget about your resistances. That's really important. So this gives us, the one we have equipped right now, it has Physique Spirit, pretty good cold resistance, pretty good lightning resistance. This gives us Vitality Damage, Vitality Decay, Energy Regeneration, Pierce Resistance, and then some CDR. I think I'm actually going to go with that, to be completely honest with you, because I could really use that CDR, and the Pierce Resistance is pretty important. And I have to say, you know, our class is already going to be doing plenty of vitality damage, so that definitely gels well with what we're trying to accomplish. Although, you know what, I'm going to have to take a look again at my skills and find out how much... Out of all the skills that I was planning on doing when I did the little analysis portion in Grim Tools, how many of the skills that I had actually had some resist shred? Because that's really important. A lot of our things do vitality damage, and if we're going to go with the Storm Totem, which I totally want to, and do the 100% lightning damage converted over to vitality damage, if I end up going that route, I need to have something that reduces the enemy's vitality resistance. So I need to have a resistance shred. And I don't remember if any of our skills did it.
Come see what's left of my wares.
God, I don't want to give up these boots. What if I need to accidentally... Or what if I need to equip them? Like, I'm just getting hammered from something that's doing, like... Oh, you want to know, it's only a little bit. The percentages are small. The shield I'll keep. Right, that gave me the +1 to skeletons, and that's the whole reason why I'm not equipping this other one. Although I do have to say that this is like one of those really good necklaces, one of these really good amulets that I would almost want to like not lose and put that into the shared stash. So that way if this character, God forbid it happens, make sure we knock on wood, but if we die, I mean, I'm going to lose this, and that's kind of something I don't really want to lose because it's that damn good. Oops. If anything, I'll put this in my shared stash. This other amulet. And that's the one I just... Yeah, okay. Very well. It's funny that we got access to the other vendor, the upgraded vendor, in which case we unlocked the ability to buy metals. And because of that, the standard vendor here, Carrick, is now selling these goddamn things. Can you believe that shit? And of course, all the good ones are going to be
good use.
Ridiculously expensive, but I think it's at least worth our time to take a look at them. Rune of Hagarod. You know, we could maybe spend a little bit of time looking at a ring that gives us bonuses to pets. Attack speed. The rest of those are...
Put it to good use.
Other shits, so we don't want that.
Got something you need stashed?
So I am going to keep the shield around just in case. The amulet, I'm going to do the same thing. And eventually we will sell these. As a matter of fact, you know what? This amulet here, I'm actually going to put it over in this area. So what I did is I did find one epic item. This is the epic item that we found on last night's stream. I did find this other epic item when I was clearing out that prison area that I was describing earlier in this stream. And the reason why I put it over here in my item transfer stash tab is just in case I died. I didn't want to lose it, because we did lose a couple of epic items when we died, and I don't really want that to happen. And we're still a couple levels away from actually equipping it, so it totally makes sense to me to do this. We're going to do the same thing for this one amulet. I don't think I'm going to actually end up using this thing or needing it, so I'm just going to put it in here because I'm pretty sure we'll end up playing another pet build at some point. You know, as a matter of fact, a lot of this, like, outclassed gear here, I'm really tempted just to straight up put it in my shared stash. Because I really don't think I'm going to equip it again. Or just equip it, period. Okay, so that one's finished. I actually really wish the auto sort here would group all of the finished components together, rather than just having it be just a big mumbo-jumbo mess of this, the way it is now. Because it would just literally just mix finished components with the partial components together like that. I just don't like it. You know what? I think right now is a pretty good time for me to take a quick break. I think just to stretch my legs. So I will be back in just a few minutes, I promise. And we'll continuing on. And you know what? And I think... while I take my break, I think what I'll do is I will look at Grim Tools and see if I can't find out some information about resistance shred. Anyways, I'll see you guys in a few.